My name is Ryan, and I'll be talking about chemicals in our food. The food we buy and eat from supermarkets can be loaded with various chemicals, such as antibiotics and hormones, which brings me to my main claim that chemicals used in the meat we eat are harmful. My supporting claims will be that the chemicals used in our food are harmful to human health, and second, that they're harmful to the environment. In a study by the United States Department of Agriculture, there are around 32.5 million cattle slaughtered in 2005 just to provide meat for America. Scientists believe that about 2/3 of cattle today are injected with hormones. Chemicals such as hormones and antibiotics are used very frequently in the meat industry today, so frequently that it can be affecting your health you don't even realize it. A hormone is a chemical that is made naturally in the body. Hormones send messages to different areas of the body and help affect the way your body works in a certain way. For instance, adrenaline is a hormone. It kicks in under stress, say, like if you're at a race, that's starting out a race or something. Synthetic hormones are used to make animals gain weight faster, so they can make more meat when they're slaughtered. Or hormones or for instance in cows, they're used to increase milk production. Some synthetic hormones found in food have been known to increase the risk of cancer. In the 60s, there was a hormone called diethylstilbestrol. It was a synthetic estrogen used to fatten chickens and cattle, but was discontinued because it increased the risk of vaginal cancer. Probably one of the more common hormones you hear about being used today is recombinant bovine hormone, or RBGH, used in cows to increase milk production. According to the Food and Drug Administration, milk from cows treated with RBGH has been found to have higher levels of insulin-dependent growth factor, or IGF-1. IGF-1 is a hormone already naturally occurring in humans, but it's been found in higher levels in people who have cancer. According to the Harvard Nurses Health Study, women who have breast cancer have higher levels of IGF-1 than women who don't have cancer. According to these studies, ingesting something with IGF-1 is not expected to raise your risk of cancer by increasing your levels of IGF-1, but there is still a possibility. On occasion, early puberty in females has been associated with the hormones in the food they eat. In the 1980s, there was a study done by the Center for Disease Control in Puerto Rico. There were an increasing number of girls who were hitting puberty at an early age, and the CDC tested the meat found in the markets. The results of the test showed increased levels of estrogen in the meat. Antibiotics are used very frequently in our food as well. An antibiotic is a medicine used to treat against infections caused by bacteria, fungus, and some parasites. Antibiotics are given to animals because it prevents the spread of bacteria when you cram thousands of animals in small cages. But antibiotics are also used for the same reason as hormones, just to fatten the animal. For instance, a chicken that grows traditionally matures in about 90 days, while a chicken grown with antibiotics matures in about 40 days. But like I said, antibiotics are used only to treat bacteria. If you use it to treat against a virus like a common cold or a flu, you could make your symptoms worse. So by eating meat from an animal that was treated with antibiotics, you could be making yourself sicker. Antibiotics are only meant to be taken in controlled doses, or else your body develops resistance to that medicine. In 2001, a study done in the New England Journal of Medicine showed 84% of salmonella bacteria in beef found in markets were resistant to some antibiotics. For instance, increasing milk in cows may cause the cow to become more susceptible to infection, allowing them to get mastitis, an infection of the udders. These cows will then be given antibiotics, and then humans will drink this milk that has the antibiotics in it. So in your mouth and stomach, you already have bacteria living in them to help you digest certain foods. These bacteria don't overrun your body because they're regulated by the immune system. If these bacteria encounter small amounts of antibiotics frequently enough, like in your drinking milk, then they develop a resistance to it. This is dangerous because it'll be harder for your immune system to regulate these bacteria, you can get sick. But due to their resistance to antibiotics, it'll be much harder to treat. This brings me to my second claim that these chemicals harm the environment. The beef we eat from a cow is not the only thing that retains the growth hormones. The cows also excrete the hormones in their feces. In an article written in Science News, it stated that hormones in the feces can then contaminate other surfaces it touches. Traces of hormones can be found in the soil for up to 195 days. If someone was to plant food in that soil, that means the plants would have hormones in them too. If someone was to plant aquatic ecosystems are also especially susceptible. If the hormones get inside the water, they could potentially alter the DNA of the aquatic life. It can change their gender by giving them both female and male genitalia, making them unable to reproduce. If these fish are unable to reproduce, then they could potentially become extinct in that region. I'm now explaining to you why I think the chemicals such as hormones and antibiotics used in our meat are dangerous to our health. Although some of the evidence I have presented is still inconclusive as to whether they're actually bad for you. But if you don't know for certain that they are good for you, why would you want to take that risk? Hopefully you think twice before buying meat from the supermarket. Thank you.
All right, Brian, the proposition is identified. I think it's phrased in a very broad way, but it does allow you to cover the two supporting issues that you develop. You signpost both of those issues in your preview and in the structure, so they're pretty easy to follow. Although the first one is the largest part of your argument. It takes up the dominant substance of your research and is pretty well developed. I thought when you got to the second one that if it's equally well developed, we'd have a pretty balanced feature. But you got to the second one and it seemed very sketchy and dependent on hypotheticals and a series of events that would have to occur in a sequence that you don't really demonstrate to be likely. So I think the first point is stronger than the second point is. On that first point, you explain what the stories are. You've got some good testimony that you're citing. You've got factual data on the hormones and the relationship that they might have to health. What you need is a little bit more conclusive data on the impact that it has on human beings. The closest you got to something that was fairly conclusive was the CDC study about early development in girls, and then you've got this hypothetical example, not hypothetical, you've got an example about the chicken hormones from the 60s that was linked to, I think you said it was vaginal cancer. I think you need to give us a little bit more detail on that, and then some demonstration that those types of hormones are consistent with the hormones that are being utilized today. You have a tendency to look down while you're speaking a lot, and I think you gain greater confidence and also greater credibility if you look up a little bit more. I thought that you had a nice exit trying to make the best use out of the evidence that you did have, especially on that second point, saying, well, you know, maybe it's not conclusive and maybe it's not convincing, but let's shift the burden a little bit here. Why take the risk? And I thought that that was maybe a good way to phrase that. All right, thank you.